What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Toilets to Titles bathroom break. Myself and Boomer, as you see over here to my left, we are here. We are live, and we are here to talk about the Baker Mayfield trade to the Carolina Panthers. I wasn't planning on doing this episode tonight. Jarod asked, hey, does anybody want to jump on? I said, let's do it. Jarod is, without a doubt, the biggest Baker Mayfield stan that I know. So, Jarod, give me your opinion, man. Goes to Carolina for a fifth-round pick, a conditional fifth-round pick that can go to a fourth-round pick in 2024. That feels like stealing.
Oh, it's an absolute steal. Even more of a steal, he took a $3 million cut, so they got him for a conditional fifth-round pick, which will probably be a fourth-round pick, and $5 million. That is an absolute monster trade, bro.
It's ridiculous. And like, people forget how good this guy is. Like, he's had 2 good years in Cleveland. He had 2 down years, but last year, like, they asked him to play hurt the whole year, and he did. He brought this team to the playoffs and actually won him a playoff game for the first time in 20-something years? Like, this guy literally turned that whole franchise around, and then they went out and just traded for another quarterback. I don't know why.
Well, here's the deal, right? You want to say Deshaun Watson's an upgrade, right? And that's what their fan base wants to do, you know, and I understand that. And Deshaun Watson, athletic-wise, he's a better athlete. There's no denying that for me. Is he a better quarterback? I don't really know I can say that because the Texans have had a pretty decent offensive line, right? And people can say that Baker's had a good offensive line, but I will tell you, they had a good rushing offensive line. You don't allow 40-plus sacks 3 out of the last 4 years and tell me you have a good pass blocking offensive line. Okay, your quarterback in Deshaun Watson went 4-12 2 years ago. He had monster numbers because they were playing from behind. And when you play, and here's the problem with that. He went 4-12 with DeAndre Hopkins on your team. Well, I guess maybe he'd been traded 2 years ago, technically, right? So, I mean, he's had Brandon Cooks. He's had really, really solid players, and they play against the Jags twice a year, the Titans, who weren't good, you know, for his first 5 years in the league. He's got 2 more wins than Baker, and I would argue that he's played in an easier division and a much easier schedule. I'm not saying that Baker is a better quarterback overall, but Baker was in a much worse position. Like, coming in, you don't take over a team that had won 4 games in 4 years and was 1-32 1-32-1 when you took over, with a tie in week 1, and then you took over, you know, in week 3 from behind. You're losing, and dude, that Jets game is basically what Baker should have done, you know, and I think they should have kept Williams as their coach. It just seemed like it was better for them.
So I seen a crazy stat on Twitter earlier. There's only been 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. Love the Baker Cup. Love it. There's only been 3 quarterbacks who have lost games that are active in the NFL right now that have lost games when their team has scored 42 points or more. Baker leads the league in that statistic. The Browns have lost 3 games where they've scored 42 points or more. Like, that you can't point to Baker and say that's his fault.
Look what he did just against the Chargers last year. You don't put that many points and that many yards in a game when you realize, hey, they could not run the ball really. Chubb had a monster run, you know, which made the game look closer than it was for that run, you know, rushing wise. But he was averaging 2 yards a carry before that. Baker throws over 300-something yards, 4 touchdowns. It's a back and forth, and they just could not stop that defense or that offense.
No. And that's the one thing I love about him going to Carolina. Like, he's got if McCaffrey is healthy, it's an obvious upgrade in skill set in the running back position in Carolina. The defense in Carolina is a lot better than what they had in Cleveland. That's no disrespect to Myles Garrett and those boys. They're good, but they're not as good as the Carolina defenses. They're just not. Yeah, and then you look at the wide receivers, like you still got competent wide receivers. You got DJ Moore, Terrence Marshall, Robbie Anderson. Like those are some guys that can go out there and do something.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not a huge Robbie Anderson fan. And I told you, and I told all the guys the day he deleted his tweets, I posted on Twitter. I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you right now, this is happening within the next month. And It was literally, it's been a month. So, I mean, it's been less than a month. It's been, because I think that was the 10th or 12th of June. And I was like, okay, this is really happening. I obviously found out something before that and sent Coach a message and said, hey, this is real. Like, Rashard Higgins, obviously, he's a fan. Him and Baker have got good chemistry. If Rashard Higgins doesn't fumble the ball at the 1 yard line in the playoff game against the Chiefs, they're in the AFC Championship game. And what are we talking about then? Is it Baker's fault they didn't get there? No, they had 3 turnovers that weren't his fault. So I have all this thing about Baker leads the league in interceptions, right? Since he's joined. Well, you should look at all the video where players have stopped routes or slowed up or doesn't
balls
go
off their hand.
Supposed to go. Yeah, or drop the Tampa Bay or the Seattle game. I really think so. We talk about somebody just brought in how much better of a season. We'll get to that. Yeah, I agree. The terms on this is hilarious, by the way. The terms on it's the steal of the offseason.
It is. So another tweet that I had seen as I was going through Twitter. Let me find it real quick. It was basically a breakdown of trades that happened this offseason. Matt Ryan got traded for a 2022 third. Carson freaking Wentz got traded for a 2022 second, a 2022 third, and a conditional 2023 third that can become a second. And Washington paid his entire contract of $28 million. And you're telling me Baker Mayfield got traded for a conditional fifth and the team split his salary? That's freaking ridiculous. Like the Browns got absolutely hosed on this trade, and they were in no position at all to negotiate. People were saying Baker Mayfield would play for the Browns if and when Deshaun Watson got suspended. That was never happening.
Never.
Baker Mayfield was not stepping on that field in Cleveland again. That was over. People were like, oh, no. It's his last season under contract. He wants to go out and earn another contract. The man didn't care. The man did not care. He was going to move on. He was never going to play for the Browns again. And you know what? Somebody was going to pay him. Would they pay him as much if he went out and balled out this year in Cleveland? No. But you know what? He's still going to get paid. He's still going to make upwards of 15 to 20 million next year when he redoes the contract on his next contracts. The man's not worried about the money. If you don't know Baker Mayfield, it's 100% principle at this point. They completely disrespected him by bringing in Deshaun Watson and giving him one of the worst contracts in NFL history.
Well, it is the worst contract in NFL history, and it's a slap in face to the owners, which is really why. And we talked about this a couple months ago when it happened, just you and me, because you'd brought it up to me. It's like, hey, are the owners upset? The owners are pissed.
Yeah.
Okay? And
it was that $1 million. It was that $1 million for the first year that pissed them all off.
You want me to tell you another reason why he didn't go to Seattle?
Yeah.
They're legit talking about selling the team.
Yeah, they are. Not just selling it, moving the team as well.
And that's the thing is, I mean, you imagine if they got to Oklahoma? I'm going to tell you right now, they'd sell out every single game because we ain't got nothing to do in Oklahoma.
They got nothing to do. Nothing. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's it. That's all you got.
Yeah. And and it's funny, we bring up the Thunder. They were the New Orleans Hornets at the time.
Yep.
During Katrina. They came up to Oklahoma City. They were the worst team in basketball and sold out every single game. Every single one.
Listen, there's nothing to do there. My little brother was stationed at Fort Sill. There's nothing to do there. Nothing.
I mean, I love downtown Oklahoma City. I love all that area. But the thing is, we love sports so much. That's what we're going to do, bro. Like, I mean, we're going – I mean, Oklahoma has 100,000 people every Saturday at a football game. You know what I mean? So it's just how it is. I mean, we love our sports around here. How much – I love this question. How much of a better season do you see Anderson having this year with Baker over Sam Darnold? Here's my issue with this, right? Anderson has got some major apologizing to do no matter what, right? He's going to be kissing Baker's ass. Hey, bro, you know what? Because Anderson's getting paid $28 million this year, by the way. Yeah. So Anderson might be giving him $3 million. And like, bro, you know what? This is the $3 million that you had to give up. I will buy you, you know.
Let me buy you another
something
Rolex.
Clean. Yeah, I got you, right? I got you, bro. Even though Baker doesn't need it. I mean, dude, he's got endorsements like nobody. He's worth like he had a $30 million contract guaranteed his rookie year. So he's done fine.
So here's my thing about like I don't want to
go back to real quick.
Go ahead, and then I'll give my thoughts.
I think Robbie Anderson has the year that he had with Teddy Bridgewater, which is monster, by the way.
That's fair
because. I mean, Baker in 11 personnel sets, which is one of the best things that they run. 3-man, 1 running back, right? Because Chris McCaffrey doesn't need a fullback, bro. Like, that dude will embarrass you. So, 11 personnel sets. Baker Mayfield's top 5. He's tied with Patrick Mahomes in that category, right? Matt Ryan, who gets paid $30 million, was one of the worst quarterbacks in 11-man sets. And they ran 11-man sets more than any other team in football last year. Mm-hmm. They were number 1.
So my take on this Robbie Anderson thing is I can kind of understand where he was coming from when he went to bat for Sam Darnold, if I'm understanding the situation right. And that was only because
that's what he said after.
Because he was defending his quarterback at the time. So I'm not like, listen, he was wrong for saying what he said, right? Like there's not that is what it is. But I can kind of see like him wanting to defend the quarterback that's currently there versus the quarterback that could potentially be there.
Could be a rumor. 100% get that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I absolutely believe that those two will sit down. They'll talk it out, and it won't be as big of a deal as much as people on Twitter want it to be a big deal. Like right now,
dude, they're going to be throwing passes tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like people want this to be a big deal because there's nothing else going on. It's not that big of a deal. It's just not. In my opinion, it's just not that big of a deal.
It's a little bit of a big deal, right? Week 1, Carolina plays the Browns at Carolina.
Yeah, that's going to be a hell of a game.
Right?
Like the NFL schedule, it's going to be a hell of a game. Listen, I expect Baker Mayfield to go out there and light them up.
I do too.
The
thing is, I would tell you before the season, you know, when the summer started, 100% even before the Deshaun Watson trade, as soon as like it was because they knew that they were going to play each other, they just didn't know when they were going to play each other.
Yep.
The Browns were going to be favored by a touchdown in that game. It's just what it was. Now I will bet you that the Panthers are favored by 3 to 6 points, and I'm taking that right now. See that.
So typically the home team gets a 3-point favorite anyway, but I expect it to be. I honestly expect the Panthers to be favored by at least a touchdown because I think the Browns are going into the season with Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback 1. And as you can see, I'm repping the Dolphins, and we got to see Jacoby Brissett up close and personal. And he's just not a good quarterback. He's not. He's a sufficient backup quarterback. That's what he is. He can provide you some locker room experience and whatnot, but he's not an adequate starting NFL quarterback. He's just not.
And I agree with you. And thing is people got to look at who his offensive coordinators were. You know, Josh McDaniels will make an average quarterback look really good.
Yep.
Right. Ask Jimmy Garoppolo. Ask freaking, you know, Mac Jones. I'm sorry, Mac Jones is okay. He's not great by any means, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, but I'm just now. Don't get me wrong. He ain't got a whole lot of weapons around him. Hunter Henry's a boss. Do not get it twisted.
But the weapons are not there in New England, and they don't want Mac Jones to go out and have to throw the ball 25, 30 times a game anyway to win the game. They'd much rather just rely on their defense, control the passing game, and run the ball as much as possible. That's what they want to do.
We saw him win a game without passing a single game, a single pass.
No, they threw the ball 4 times, I believe.
4 times.
Yeah. Three or 4 times the entire game, and they won that game. Like that, Bill Belichick was over the moon that week because all they had to do was run the ball. The Bills could not stop them for the life of them.
My question to you is, how hilarious is it that when Baker was drafted and his buddy, Colin Cowherd, said Sam Darnold's a better quarterback, Baker Mayfield's undraftable, and now Baker Mayfield is going to be playing above Sam Darnold as we see that rest in peace up down here.
Baker Mayfield is now replacing him in the starting lineup. That is absolutely fantastic. Anytime Colin Cowherd can be wrong and proven wrong, I'm down for it. I'm all about it because I can't stand that guy. I think between him and Skip Bayless are nothing more than hot take machines, in my opinion.
Well, here's my issue with the Sam Darnold, right? And I have said this from the get-go, and this is before either one of them was drafted. I took one team and compared while they're in college. We got to see Baker Mayfield against Ohio State at Ohio State. We got to see Sam Darnold against Ohio State at the Rose Bowl, which is a home game. So Baker Mayfield plays at Ohio State. He plants a flag there, throws 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And we see Sam Darnold threw 3 interceptions against the exact same team. And I will tell you, I think the Ohio State that Baker played was a better – because they were healthy compared to the team that Ohio State played USC played in the Rose Bowl. I thought, they weren't as good. And he got absolutely turned up in that one. Like, that right there told me Sam Darnold is not better than Baker Mayfield. And I just needed one game to prove it.
So let me ask you this. I posted a tweet in one of our group chats. It was a guy who said it was one of those how it started and how it's going type tweets. And the beginning of the tweet, he had circled disgruntled Carolina fan, and now how it's currently going is ex-Carolina fan. And I asked him, I'm like, is this because they traded for Baker? You'd much rather have Sam Darnold over Baker Mayfield starting. And he's like, no. He goes, I seen this team as winning 3 games next year. And instead of getting a retread on a subpar quarterback, we traded for a subpar quarterback where if we, would have waited till next year, we could have gotten one of the elite quarterbacks in the draft. And I look at this Carolina roster, even without Baker on it, and I had this team with Sam Darnold. I had them winning 6 games.
So I had them winning 4 games or 5 games.
So I mean, we're right there. Like I look at it as they're going to win a game that they should not win throughout the season. Like so, I do that to most of the teams. I'll look and I say, okay, there's at least one game on the schedule looking at it that they should not win, but any given Sunday they're going to end up winning. So I gave them 6 wins. And 6 wins is not going to be enough to get one of those top tier quarterbacks. The defense, as I mentioned, the defense is too good. The offense with a healthy Christian McCaffrey, I mean, they won 4 games last year. It's a 2-game improvement over last year based upon their draft and based upon, just healthy bodies coming back in. And now you add Baker Mayfield, I bump them up to a 9-win team. And in the NFC, 9 wins, that's pushing playoffs. This team is probably going to make the playoffs next year at 9 wins.
Well, I think he gets to – well, if he's at 9 wins, they go 9-9, so I don't think so. Or 9-8. So
9-8.
I think they get to 10 to 12. Just so we're clear, he does play the AFC North, right?
Yep.
I think he beats Pittsburgh, right? I think he beats. Honestly, I don't think the Ravens got better. I think they got worse. Love or hate it, he hasn't lost to the Bengals. He's undefeated versus the Bengals, and he balls out. Even Joe Burrow said this on a podcast. He's like, dude, every time we play that dude, he balls out against us. He goes for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, what do you say to you? Like, I've not seen him play a bad game against the Bengals, and he hasn't. You know, so
I think this. So I'm looking at the schedule right now. All right, and we'll go through. You count your wins, I'll count mine, and let's see where we come out at. Okay. First game, and I think we're going to agree on the first one. First game again of the year, they get the Browns. That's going to be a win.
That's one.
Right. Week 2, the New York Giants. That's going to be a win.
2.
Week 3, they're home against the Saints. I'm going to give them that win at home. Week 4 against the Cardinals. I'm going to give them that win.
That's tough.
That is tough. I agree. It's tough. They're at home. I'm going to give – I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to give them the win at home.
With Hopkins out?
Yes. So I've got them winning their first 4.
3 or 4 wins in the first 4 games. So
yep.
I'll go bottom side and we'll go 3. I'll go 3, you go 4. So we'll go from there.
Okay. The 49ers. I've got that as a loss. I think the 49ers will beat them.
But who's the quarterback? Do you really think Trey Lance is that good?
It'll be Trey Lance. Lance.
So my question,
I think overall the 49ers are just a better team. Quarterback aside, I think the 49ers, their defense is elite. That defense is elite.
So is Carolina. Carolina's a top 5 defense.
Yeah,
they're a top 2 rush defense. And I'll be honest with you, there's going to be 8, 9 in the box against the 49ers. And it's at Carolina, right?
Yeah, it's at Carolina.
There's my 4th win. So we're both 4-1 right now.
Yeah, we're 4-1 right now. I'm going to give them a loss at LA against the Rams. I'm going to give them a loss there. I'm going to give them a loss at home against Tampa. I'm going to give
out. I'll get rid of that. Yep. 4-3 right now.
Yep. I'm going to give them a win against the Falcons, even if it's even in Atlanta.
Yep. Agree.
I'm going to give them a win against the Bengals.
That's the total. Is that at Carolina? It doesn't matter because it's going to be early.
Yeah, it's a 1:00 game, but it's in Cincinnati. I'm giving that one to the Panthers.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, if both those teams are 5-6 wins, that's going to be a leg game, bro.
They might bump it. They might.
It's going to get it. Yeah. So I think we agree. We got 5 wins right now, right?
I'm at 6.
Oh, then I'm at 6. Yeah.
All right. A win against the Falcons. That gets me 7.
Oh yeah, they go right back. That's 7.
Yep. At Baltimore, I'm not going to give them the win at Baltimore.
What is that in October?
November 20th. I'm going to give Baltimore that win.
I'm not.
Okay.
So I'm at 8.
I'm at 7. I'm going to give the Broncos the win.
That one's going to be so close.
I'm going to go with the
Broncos that much better than they were last year?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Case Keenum beat the Broncos last year.
Yes, but now they have Russell Wilson at quarterback, not Drew Lock or anybody else. Well,
and I get that, right?
I'm going to give that one to the Broncos.
But Russell Wilson, when he airs it out more than 30 times a game, right, in cold weather, has not been good. When he played a top 15 defense, he lost last year. And I think Carolina's a top 15 defense.
Yeah, but I think it's a different team. I think this team is more complete than what they had in Seattle as well, on both sides of the ball.
I'm a little skeptical on the defense. I'll give you that, though. I think it's going to be so close.
It's going to be a close game. But I'm going to go with
that.
I think it's a Sunday. I'm gonna give them a win against. I'm gonna give the Panthers a win in Seattle.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I'm up to 8, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost that. I would be shocked if they lost that game. Let me rephrase that. But at the same time, going to Seattle, it's still not going to be an easy game for them to play there. But I will give that one to the Panthers.
Baker does play well against Seattle, though. He threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against them last time. So
I'm also going to give the Steelers the win at the Panthers. If it was earlier in the season, I might go with the Panthers just because of the lack of experience at the quarterback position.
When is the Panthers bye week?
The thing I'm looking at, it doesn't say the bye week on here. I'm assuming it's
huge.
I'm assuming it's in between the Broncos at the Panthers and the Panthers at Seattle. I'm assuming it's in between that game because it goes from November 27th,
week 13,
to December 11th. So it's in between that week.
Week 13. Week 13 is their bye week.
Yep. So they go to Seattle for week 14, week 15 home for the Steelers. I'm going to give that game to the Steelers.
When's the Steelers bye week?
I don't care.
Because my question is if the Steelers are sub 500 with Trubisky at quarterback, then Pickett's the starter.
Yep.
Pickett against the Panthers defense is a little scary, bro.
I agree. I'm as of right now, I'm going to give that to the Steelers. The next week is the Lions.
I got the Panthers in that one.
Next week is the Lions at the Panthers. I'm going to give that to the Panthers. Then we got the Panthers.
So early, it's week 9.
Yeah. Then you got the Panthers at the Buccaneers. I'm going to give that one to the Buccaneers again. So I think the Buccaneers sweep them in division. And then I actually am going to give the last game of the season to the Panthers. It's going to be the Panthers at New Orleans. I'm going to give that one to the Panthers.
I'm probably going to that one, bro.
So I'm going to split the season series for that particular one. So I got them at 10 games.
I got them at 11.
Okay, so that's playoffs. That's playoffs.
Yeah, I see the Panthers and the Bucks making the playoffs.
I'll go over here and highlight Nino's. He's got Carolina at 10 wins. Panthers or Bucks? We just discussed that. The Bucks sweep them.
We both think they make the playoffs. I think. But here's my thing about that. We agree that it could go one way or the other, right? On one of those games. You ain't going to beat those guys 3 times. I don't think you can beat the Panthers 3 times in a row.
No, so that's why I think it's difficult to beat any team 3 times in a row.
That's why I think you might see Baker win that first home game against the Bucks. They're going to be letting it fly, bro. And I don't really trust the Bucks corners.
No, but I think the fact that Baker is new to the team, new coaching staff, new scheme, it's going to take a little bit to get used to.
So here's my thing with that. Baker is one of those guys. He's the photographic memory guy, just so you know this. And he's also learned 5 different offensive schemes in 5 years.
He has. Now he's having to go for 6.
So now it's 6. So and he's done well. You know, he's thrown for 3,500 yards a year. So 3,200 yards, 25 touchdowns, no problem, by the way.
I'm going to go.
Ben said too much.
I'm going to go over on the yards. I'm going to go under on the touchdowns. I think he gets 23.
So if he gets over on the yards is easy. There's 18 games, not 17 games, 18 games. So. I'm going to go. He's get 17 games. The defenses aren't lit up. The AFC North defenses are much better than the NFC South here, right? So I could be wrong on that. They are the NFC South, right?
Yes, NFC South. I appreciate this comment from Justin, by the way. The second bathroom break, we've had more than one man in the stall.
So, you got to think about this. In the military, we got a bunch of stalls, bro. Like, we just –
And they don't have doors.
Yeah, we just
So,
be waving.
and then we got one more from Nino. DJ Moore, 80 receptions plus or minus. So I am traditionally low on DJ Moore. I think I'm going to go over on the receptions though. I think he'll probably end up around 89 to 90 receptions. And I also think he's going to go more than 4 touchdowns. Because every year since he's been in the
last
league,
year with Darnold.
Yeah. I think every year he's come in the league, he's had 4 touchdowns. So I'm going to go over on the touchdowns of 4 for DJ Moore as well.
Every year but his first year, he had 2. So
yep.
I'm going to get 6 or 7 touchdowns, and I'm going to say 1,250 yards.
Justin wants to know how I knew it was him. And then he put this one right here. I mean, it was the reason I knew it was Justin is because it was funny. Nobody else that comments under that handle is funny. DJ Moore entered the top 10 now. What do you think? I don't think he does.
So, I mean, 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns. I'm going to go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go number 10. And here's the crazy thing. I don't think DJ Moore's been a top 15 guy once, right? So,
yeah. I still don't have him in the top 10.
I mean, 1175, 1193, 1157, and I'm saying 1250 minimum. So he's in 2020 with 2020
all those
Teddy
is
Bridgewater.
Yeah, and all those stats are at 16 games as well. So you're going to add another game in. So his stats are going to go up.
1,300 yards, 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns.
It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but we're going to have to put that on the board. Bathroom bet. I'm going to go under. You're going to obviously going to go over. So we'll have to go a bathroom bet on that. We'll throw that on the board.
I said 10. So
I'm going way
under. Is he top 15?
Yes, I'll probably have him anywhere between 13 and 15 when I adjust my rankings.
Huge. That's still huge, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got him in, let me look. Hold on. I'll tell you. I think I have him at 19, maybe 20 right now. So he definitely moves up. Okay. I've got him at 19 right now. So he's going to move up. And that's just because of the quarterback. So
my guy Russ is in here. What's up?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to pull Russ's up. Does Jeremy Chin lead the team in tackles? I'm throwing this to you because I'm not an IDP guy.
No. So here's Jeremy Chin's awesome, right? But the reason why he was so pumped in his first year is because he was in the box. I mean, he basically played linebacker. He's playing safety. I do think you're going to see a lot of passes and in that division in general. We will see that. It's going to be close, but I think we see a reemergence, of Shaq Thompson as legit LB top 15. So,
yep. This would be poetic. Sam Darnold to the Seattle for a 7th. I don't think Seattle is trading for a quarterback. I'm going to say it right now.
They want to lose.
Yes. At 1,000%, they want to lose. They want to get one of those rookie quarterbacks coming in next year, especially with them looking to sell the team. New owner, new coach, new GM and coach get to work together to pick their future star quarterback. Do you think Pete
Carroll would be leaving? Like,
I think so. I think so.
He's old.
He's the second oldest. He's the second oldest coach in the NFL. I think he'll be done. I absolutely think he's done. Nino wants to know. Yeah, time to retire. He wants to know how this affects Tommy Tremble if he becomes relevant, and how about Terrence Marshall?
Well, Baker likes his tight ends. Mark Andrews was a beast in college. He's a beast in pros, and right. He made their third string, tight end good. Njoku was solid. Hooper was solid. They had 3 tight ends. Now, they were in a lot of 12-man sets, and 12 personnel sets. So you don't have a choice because you got basically one wide receiver a lot of times. So you make those relevant. Terrence Marshall, I think, becomes a legit slot dude. Like, I love that. I love him in general. I think Tremble isn't going to be like light him up because Baker does spread the ball around a lot. I mean, he started a lot of games, 9 receivers, 12 receptions. So he does that.
So I don't think Tremble is going to like solely as a fantasy perspective. I do not think that Tommy Tremble becomes relevant this year. It's just one of those things where it takes a minute for tight ends to get used to the league, to catch up on everything and all that. So I don't think he becomes fantasy relevant this year. Do I think, long term this is good for him? Listen, if they go out and they extend Baker Mayfield, yes, this will be great for Tommy Tremble. It absolutely will. But
he does more than last year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, as far as this year in fantasy, no, I don't think it's going to help a whole lot. I think he does more than what he did last year. I agree to that, but I don't think he's somebody you're going to be for fantasy purposes only. I think this is a better NFL move for Tommy Tremble than a fantasy move. Let me see. Justin, he just moved DJ Moore up to 12 from 16. So I'll probably have him around 13, 14-ish, somewhere in there. So pretty much agree there. Russ had another question. I wanted to pull this one up because we did touch a little bit about Seattle. Does DK ask for a trade? Was really wanting Baker in Seattle.
So I posted this a couple weeks ago, right? And it wasn't DK because Debo has always asked for a trade, right?
Yep.
And I posted that the Carolina Panthers were interested in Baker Mayfield and Debo Samuel. Everybody's interested in Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Right? So for the right price, I could see DK or Debo move. I don't think it's in Seattle's best interest if they're going to have to pay him $100 million to keep DK.
Yep. And that's why I think eventually they trade him. Listen, with the new owner coming in, I honestly think they're going to just strip that team, get as many assets as they can, and just rebuild.
Well, here's my issue with DK is the face of that team right now. Love or
until
hate
next
it.
year.
Maybe.
But until next year, until next year when they're picking either one or two, and then there'll be a new face.
My question to you is, if you are the Panthers,
yep,
you have draft capital, you even have personnel you can trade away. Do you take DK or Debo if you have your choice?
I think I'm going to do DK. I think I'd rather DK over Debo.
You think?
Nope. And here's why. Because what does Debo do that's great that sets him aside from everybody else? It's his running, right? Like he's an overall 100% weapon. And he's already come out and said, I don't want to run the ball anymore. Which I don't blame him because that's going to increase significantly the odds of him getting a significant injury. So I 100% understand why DK doesn't want to do the running the ball anymore, doesn't want to be used as a slash for running back and receiver. So I would much rather have DK than Debo Samuel.
So here's my issue with that, right? Because catch percentage is a big deal to me. Just so we're there, right? With total yards, yeah, he had a lot. But when your catch percentage is in the 70th percentile, longest bathroom break we've ever had.
Might want to get that checked.
Hey, it's because we have our cell phones. You know what I mean? You're a 60+ percentage guy. You know, and his first year we're 70+ percentage in catch percentage, right? And we'll agree Russell Wilson is a much better quarterback than Garoppolo or Trey Lance, right?
Yep.
To where DK, percentage-wise, catch percentage, is 58. That's 12% catch percentage. With a better quarterback, he's 12% less. Yards per target for DK, because everybody really talks about DK being a big, deep threat guy. Yards per target were only 7.5, which we always see him catching a long ball. I'm taking the yards after catch Debo than the one big play every now and then. But don't get me wrong, DK's a burner. He's one of the fast guys in football. But I'm taking the guy that can catch the ball and take it 90 yards. I'm taking Debo over DK all day long and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll
it's
have
the
to
catch
agree.
percentage for me. It's the catch percentage for me.
Yeah, I would still rather have DK. If I'm not mistaken, isn't DK's younger than him too, isn't he?
No.
He's
Debo's
not?
been in the league 3 years.
Oh, that don't mean nothing. So DK's 24. Let me pull up Debo.
I think they're the same age.
Debo's 26.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, Debo's 2 years older.
I don't care about that. 2 years ain't gonna matter to me with this.
Oh, it absolutely matters because 2 more years of DK in his prime. Dude hasn't even hit his prime yet. That's the thing. DK is this good and he hasn't hit his prime yet.
Well, I think he has. I think he peaked
I
2
don't
years
think he
ago.
has. No, he did.
Yards after catch, bro.
He peaked in his second season in the league. Come on.
Bro, I can name a billion different teams that have peaked their second league. I mean, I just think overall, Debo is more. I catch his route running much better. Debo's a much better route runner than DK. We agree on that?
Yeah, I do.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah, no qualms about that at all.
Okay. Obviously, Debo got hurt his second year. Didn't play a whole lot. I get both. And I think I don't know if they both have the same. I think A.J. Brown and Debo have the same guy, their agent. So you're going to have to pay one of them. My question is if DK either – both of them would be great to have because would they be the number one? I mean, they'd be the number one. DJ would be the number two. So that would be scary with those two, man. I mean –
on the same team? Yes.
I mean DJ Moore with one of those guys.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, DJ Moore would be absolutely phenomenal as a number two. Like that would just be absolutely scary.
I think DJ Moore is as good as Jarvis Landry, and I truly am being honest with that.
So the one thing I'm looking at also, and I know Debo's missed a bunch of time, so the numbers, are a little skewed, right? But he has 10 career touchdowns. You've got 29 by Debo. So Debo's almost outscored him 3-1.
Quarterback.
I'm saying, like, his best year was last year. He had 1,400 yards. DK's best year was 1,300 yards.
Well,
so there's not a huge difference.
He had 1,400 receiving yard. He had 1,770 total yards.
Yes, but he also said, I don't want to do this no more.
And that's fine. I can turn those rushes into screen passes real fast.
That's true. But anyway, we've strayed way. Okay, we got one more question, then we should probably wrap up this bathroom break because it's almost a podcast at this point. I know.
Can talk all
night. More confidence in Geno to get the ball to DK or Lance to Debo? Well, come on, that's Lance to Debo. Come on, nobody is excited. Listen, I did a side-by-side comparison on the stats of Russell Wilson 1 year and Geno Smith. And I said I took Russell Wilson's stats last year and said if Geno Smith did this for a whole season, but I increased everything slightly, would you be upset? And they're like, no. I said, well, that's Geno Smith. Like he's going to give you subpar play. They're not going to win a lot of games, but I would still not fade DK in fantasy. Like I wouldn't draft him super early as he was going last year, but if I could get him in the 4th or 5th round, I'll take that all day long. He still produced with Geno.
Yeah, but I mean, back to our original conversation. Since we're here, Baker Mayfield is a massive upgrade to Sam Darnold. Right, This dude, Baker Mayfield's worst year is Sam Darnold's best year. That's just the facts. I mean, statistically, I don't care what people say. Baker Mayfield went into a worse position, and I don't get me wrong. I think that the Jets were one of the worst coached teams, but he still didn't take over the worst coach team and a guy who was 1-32 2 years prior. And Baker gave him more wins in his half a season, right, than he had his entire career at Cleveland. So,
well, his rookie, correct me if I'm wrong, his rookie season, he set the NFL record for passing touchdowns for rookie.
27 touchdowns in 14 games.
Yeah.
So, and 13 and a half really. So, which broke Peyton Manning's record. And everybody talks about the interceptions. Dude, Peyton Manning threw over 100 interceptions his first 4 years. 100. Yep. Right? Double what Baker's thrown. But we ain't talking that Peyton was bad, right? Because if we give Baker the same stats.
Because people forgot about his first 4 years because of what he did the rest of his career.
But why? He won 12 games his second year.
I completely agree, but that's why they dismiss how bad Peyton Manning was his first 4 years. Like, it's complete. I'm agreeing with you. They 100% dismiss how bad he was when he first came into the NFL. Like, they ridicule Baker. Like,
the hate is real.
They ridicule Tua. And I'm not trying to make it into a Tua podcast, but they ridicule these guys for throwing interceptions. And it's like, you don't mention guys like Peyton Manning who turned the ball over like crazy his first 4 years in the league. Like, that's all the guy did. Brett Favre turned the ball over like crazy. Aaron Rodgers, when he first was getting the start in Green Bay, he turned the ball over like crazy. Like, that's what these guys do. It takes time to adjust.
Tom Brady threw a 4 interception game just like a year and a half ago. So,
yep. And
it happened.
That was in the playoffs, wasn't it? Yeah. Or was that a 3 interception game?
It's a 3 interception game in the playoffs.
Yeah. So,
listen,
he's
the GOAT.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's questioning him. No, nobody questions Mr. Brady. Nobody.
I've said for a long time he gets a bad rap. He took over a team that literally had 4 wins in 4 seasons. And then there was 132-1 when he took over as quarterback. They were losing that game. They dumb decision by hiring Kitchens as the head coach. He was a quarterback's coach, done nothing. But my question to you here is, what coach, what offensive coordinator that he's had has been a winning offensive coordinator?
He hasn't
0.
had one.
He hasn't had one. And he still has performed pretty well, and like I said, 11 personnel sets, he's a top 5 quarterback. The stats are there. Him and Pat Mahomes are neck and neck, by the way. He has more touchdowns than Pat Mahomes in 11 personnel sets, when he's in it. So percentage-wise, he throws like his first 2 games, he threw like 80-something% last year and they got hurt. But let's throw that out the window, right? 80%. So he gets hurt, and then dude, who doesn't? I don't know if anybody's had a broken shoulder, like a legit fractured shoulder and a torn labrum. You don't do anything. Like, you can't even drink coffee. Like, there's no drinking a beer, bro. Like, you ain't doing this with that hand. So I don't care if you're wearing a brace or not. A torn labrum, especially severed from the bone, is absolutely terrible. Horrible pain. And everything you can pop positive on a test, you can't take for pain. You can't. Literally, you can't do it. So I would have, if me personally, and I get Baker's competitive, I would have sat down. Hey guys, good luck. Like, you got Case Keenum. I can't risk my entire career on this, right? I'll be back next year. That's what I'd have done. I'd have sat, and he still won 6 games.
Yeah, no, but that's the problem. Like, he's gonna go out there and he's going to play injured. He's not just gonna sit and not play. He's just not.
I compare him to Stafford so much, man. It's crazy to me. And and Jimmy Garoppolo has been so blessed by the quarterbacks that or the team that he's been on 2 years in a row. He's had great offensive coordinators. Josh McDaniels and Shanahan are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And he's subpar. You put Garoppolo on the Browns, that dude, he'd have the playoff game that he had.
So I used to, a friend of mine, Jason, used to have this rule, and it was the Sam Dalton rule, or not Sam Dalton. Andy Dalton. It was the
Andy
Andy Dalton. Yeah, Andy Dalton rule. If you had a quarterback that was better than Andy Dalton, you had a quarterback. If you had a quarterback that was worse than Andy Dalton, you needed a quarterback. And I feel like we can transition that now to Jimmy G. If you have a quarterback that's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't need a quarterback. But if you have one that's worse than him, you need a quarterback.
Honestly, I don't think Jimmy's just a top 20 quarterback at all.
I think he on the right team, and we've seen him on the right team in San Francisco, and a lot of this is 100% team dependent. But I think on the right team, he's a very competent quarterback. If he goes to a team that is completely dysfunctional, it's going to be the end of his career. He's going to be labeled as somebody who only succeeded where he was at because of the system he was in with McVay and the system, or not McVay, Shanahan, yeah, and then over there in New England with McDaniels and Bill Belichick, like it was 100%. You know, the system that they ran, the coaching staff, and all that. It wasn't actually him, and so that's why I say he's right there. I think right in that middle. If you got one better than him, you don't need one. If you have one worse than him, you need one.
Yeah, I'm with that to a point. I think Garoppolo is – I'll be honest with you, and I've said this before. If I give Baker Mayfield I switch him and Dak Prescott when he took over Tony Romo, bro, give me all of that, by the way. I mean –
It would have been interesting for sure.
I think they win the Super Bowl the year they win 12 games. I'll be honest with you.
No, I'm not going.
I really do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I said he is the number one Baker Mayfield stan.
look at the team, though.
I know
that offensive line was the best in football. The running back was the best in football. Amari,
no denying.
The wide receiver core was the top 5 in football. The entire offensive team was a top 5 team in offense. Yeah. You agree?
I have no doubts. The defense wasn't there.
And the defense was top 12 though. That's the thing. They were top 12 that year. A top 12 defense with the top 5 offense should win the Super Bowl.
But it very rarely happens.
It doesn't.
It very rarely happens.
It happens all the
time. It happened last year, but it very rarely do you get a top 12 defense and a top 5 offense that actually wins the Super Bowl.
You don't have a top 5 defense, top 12 offense put together ever. It doesn't happen. That's why it doesn't happen, because those two don't mix. It doesn't happen. You're either a really good defensive team or a really good offensive team, right?
I feel like
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were when they won with Tom Brady. They were a top 5 offense and a top 12 defense.
They were top 5 defense. They were top 5.
Fantasy-wise, this is a funny one. Tom Brady or Baker.
Yeah.
The offense for Tom Brady is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's going to throw 5,000 yards.
Even without Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's coming. He'll be back. I honestly think he'll be back the middle of the season. Listen, I'm not expecting the Bucs to come out to a hot start. Honestly, I think they will start slow, but for them, it's not about coming out hot. It's making it to the playoffs and seeing where they can go from there. They just got to get to the playoffs. From there, they'll be the favorite heading into the playoffs. It'll be either them or the Rams. Those are, when everybody is healthy, those are the 2 top teams in the NFC.
I agree. Well, not the NFC completely, but.
Who would you have above the Rams and the Bucs in the NFC? I feel like those 2, top to bottom, are the most complete, most elite.
You're probably
teams in
right.
the NFC.
You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
So okay, but all right. Well, let me get your final thoughts on Baker. I would ask for record prediction, but we already did that. I got to 10. You got to 11. So what are your final thoughts on Baker to Carolina? And do you expect them to extend him to a long-term, like a 3 or 4 year contract?
Well, first off, if he gets to a 10 to 11 wins, he will 100% get an extension.
Agreed.
You're not going to do that because they haven't been there in a while. Cam Newton prime years. His rookie year basically. So.
Would it be smart
think,
do you think it would be smart for them to extend him before the start of the season? Or do you think they're going to wait, see how the season plays out? Because I feel like if they wait to see how the season plays out, the price is going up.
100%. So I think what you're really going to see is before the bye week's week 13, right? Yep. So I think before the trade deadline, week 8, I think that's when we see it happen. Because especially if they're at 7 wins, which we both think they're going to be there by week 8, week 9, right?
I had them at 6, but yeah. I mean, you're splitting
7 wins.
It can go either way, yeah.
So he already has 2 more wins than they did the year before.
Yep.
Right? At 6 wins and through the first 8 games, you would think they could get 4 more wins and be a playoff team in the next 9. So 9 weeks, especially coming off the bye week. I really truly believe that we get an extension. I see 30. I can see 4,000 yards in that offense. I see Christian McCaffrey having RB1 stats. And I see DJ Moore being a top 12 to 10 wide receiver like we just talked about. And I think Sam Darnold's traded by then because somebody's going to need – because of an injury, and they're not going to need him.
Hold on one second.
You're not keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster. It's not happening.
No, I think they let go of PJ Walker. Let me see one thing, but I think actually, I know he's cheaper, but I want to see something real quick. And I apologize for not having this. I should have looked up, but I didn't actually think I'd ever be pulling up Sam Darnold's contract.
It's $18.58 million. They have the same contract. He's getting $18 million.
Yeah, it's $18 million dead cap. So they saved nothing by cutting him this year. So they're paying him regardless. Irregardless, they're paying him. I think Sam Darnold is a more competent backup than Matt Corral and PJ Walker. So that's why I think PJ Walker is your odd man out. They just drafted Corral. They will have a cap savings of $18 million going into next year. They're not going to cut the guy and pay him. I can't see them cutting him and paying him $18 million. 18.5. I just can't see them doing that. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from a personnel standpoint either, because and I'm fully aware it's Sam Darnold, but he's the best backup on the team right now.
So I don't know about that. So here's my thing. If you get in training camp, right, we realize, hey, Baker's the guy. And it's like, you know what? Bar none, he's the guy.
They've already got him listed as the QB1 on the team.
We got him injured. We got an injury in a quarterback situation from a different team, okay, in the preseason. Sam Darnold's traded. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be that Sam Bradford thing that happened with the Vikings a long time ago. So because of I just think because of last year, and if they trade him, it's got to be for like a 5th round pick. I don't think they just move Sam Darnold for a 6th or 7th round pick. You know what's going to happen? They're going to get a conditional 4th or 5th rounder just like that.
That would just be chef kiss. But no,
they're going to get a 4th rounder. I'm telling you right now.
Nobody is trading a 4th rounder for Sam Darnold.
If a quarterback is injured, you can't tell me they wouldn't.
No, I don't think they will.
If Daniel Jones gets hurt.
No, hell no. You know why?
You don't think they would?
Nope. You know why? Because that's going to line them up for, especially if it's a season-long injury, that's going to line them up for Daniel Jones' replacement next year. That's why.
What about the Texans?
The Texans don't care. Davis Mills gets hurt. They're not trading for Sam Darnold. Why? Why would the Texans trade for Sam Darnold? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense.
Well,
Sam Darnold does not move. Sam Darnold doesn't move the needle on any team at all. None.
Sam Darnold will be lucky to have a Glennon career.
Listen, and I hope he does. Like he got paid on this rookie contract. He's making $8 million this year. He's set for his family is set up million. For 18.5. They're set for the rest of the rest of this time. I'm looking at these numbers. I'm looking at these numbers, and it's absolutely ridiculous how much money Sam Darnold has made between bonuses and everything else. He's made almost $50 million on this contract, right? So, like,
it's the same as Baker's, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's the same.
So,
literally the same contract, same year.
Yes. Yep. So it's one of those things where he's going to be a career backup. That's what Sam Darnold is going to be going forward. It's not going to be one of these situations where a Mitch Trubisky last year where he sat behind Josh Allen and then, look for an opportunity to start. I don't think there's going to be another opportunity for Sam Darnold to start anywhere. I don't see it. Can it happen? Injured. Yeah. Even if somebody gets injured, like, you have to believe. Okay, so let's say one of the better quarterbacks get hurt. Okay. And I don't wish this on anybody, but let's say, for example, I wanted to use Tampa and Tom Brady, but I can't. Let's go with Josh Allen. I'll keep it in the AFC East. Josh Allen gets injured. Okay. I know Bills fans right now coming at my house with fucking pitchforks. I get that. Pardon the language. Do the Bills really believe that they would have a chance to get to the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold as their quarterback? No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can name any top-tier team. They're not going to believe Sam Darnold would be able to get them into the playoffs and then carry them and lead them in the playoffs. That's not happening. Most likely something's going to happen. They're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, who has led a team to the Super Bowl, who's led a team as the quarterback to the NFC Championship game. That's more likely to happen than Sam Darnold getting traded for. It makes no sense really for a team to trade for Sam Darnold to either help them get into the playoffs or to carry them in the playoffs. Neither one of those is going to happen with Sam Darnold. So here, I think
closing statement.
Yep, give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me.
The Browns lose by more than 10 points week 1 to the Panthers, with Baker throwing 3+ touchdowns.
I like it. I absolutely like it. I'll give you one. I'll give you a spicy take for Baker. And
Baker makes his first Pro Bowl this year.
You just took mine. I was gonna say that too. That was my spicy take. Baker Mayfield makes it to the Pro Bowl this year, but here's the caveat. I don't think he's going to be one of the original 3 selected. I think he will end up. I don't. I think he'll be a replacement for one of the other quarterbacks that are going to the Super Bowl, or just doesn't want to go. But I do think
for 4,000 yards, 28+ touchdowns, right? Which I think he can easily do.
No, because you're going to look at the quarterbacks in the NFC. You got Aaron Rodgers, you got Tom Brady, you've got
I think
Matthew
Aaron Rodgers
Stafford.
has a good year this year, just so we're clear.
I think. Listen, I said it when we were doing our NFC preview for the NFC North. I said, what's his name? Kirk Cousins is going to have a better statistical year than Aaron Rodgers.
The AFC is much more loaded quarterback-wise than the NFC. Much more.
It is, but there's more top-tier elite quarterbacks in the NFC.
I would disagree.
There's
two or three.
Three.
Tops.
Three. And 2 of them, you can argue right now, are like the number 2 and the number 3, not fantasy quarterback, just NFL quarterback. You can argue 2 of the 3 are in the top 3 in the NFL, and Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a top 10 quarterback this year. I'm going to put that out right now. So
I don't think
it's a loss.
I'm differentiating between NFL quarterbacks and fantasy, like just strictly NFL.
I'm saying that this year, I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback this year stat wise.
I think he'll be under Kirk Cousins. But I still think, that's mostly because the team that is built around him. It's not a depreciation of his talent.
That's why I put Baker at number 3. I really do. I think he's going to be the 3rd quarterback. It's going to be Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, and Baker Mayfield is my 3 pick for the Pro Bowl.
Nah,
Aaron Rodgers got lucky last year making the MVP.
He didn't get
Tom Brady should have won. Tom Brady should have won the MVP last year. The 5,000 yards led the league in touchdowns.
Aaron Rodgers had the fewest amount of interceptions.
Yeah, and the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yep. Absolutely. That helps. You're allowed to put up great numbers when you have great weapons around you.
Tom Brady put up more yards and more touchdowns. Is all I'm saying. So Baker makes the Pro Bowl.
But his team didn't have a better record either than Green Bay, to be honest. So, but all right, let's go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate you jumping on with me. This is a fun show. We need to do more of these.
100%.
So
I'm always ready.
Oh, I'm not. That's the problem. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, it's just like tonight. If you ask, hey, does anybody want to jump on right now? 9 times out of 10, I can actually do it. So, but anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the longest bathroom break in the history of bathroom breaks. They're normally only about 15, 20 minutes. Jarod and I managed to go an hour and 6. So next time we'll have to do it for an hour and 7. Jarod, appreciate it, my friend. Have an absolutely fantastic evening.
You too.